Halloween hat.
Welcome to the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. I'm David Seltzer, a member of this community. We welcome you wherever you are on your spiritual path. Please now turn off your cell phones or other electrical devices that might interfere with the electronics here and greet your neighbors. Thank you very much. At this point, on the script it says I'm supposed to say some important spiritual words that come from my heart. And the only thing that occurs to me right now is how glad I am to be here, and I'm glad that you are here too. Now we'll have the words from our Reverend Karyl Huntley that will change our lives.
Perfect. Oh, yeah. Okay. Our chant is, it says call and response, but you know, most of us know this. So it's just kind of sing along with Bodhi and I when you get going here. I and my kin are one.
Kin.
I and my kin are one. I know, I am. I and my kin are one. Grandmother. I and grandmother are one. I and grandmother are one. I know. Grandmother are one. Grandfather. I and grandfather are one. I and grandfather are one. I know, I am. I and grandfather are one. My guidance. I and my guidance are one. I and my guidance are one. I know, I am. I and my guidance are one. The mystery. I and the mystery are one. I and the mystery are one. I know, I am. I and the mystery are one.
I and the giants.
I and the giants are one. I and the giants are one. I know, I am. I and the giants are one.
I and my ancestors.
I and my ancestors are one. I and my ancestors are one. I know, I am. I and my ancestors are one. And so, following that affirmation down into the center of our being, and knowing that the ancestors, those that have lived and gone on before us, are available. And in this moment, I will be silent for a bit. And I want each one of us to call in by name our ancestors that we love and we want connection with. Call in the ancestors. Call in Mom, Helen, Nina, Grammy, Grace. And suddenly it feels so full and loving here. Knowing that that infinite presence that we call God is in and through all dimensions, holding, caring for, guiding, living through those of us in form and those of us without form. Knowing that the infinite presence that is filled with guidance and support works through those of us in bodies and those of us without bodies. So I know that I am one with my Maker. And I know that I am one with my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, all of their spouses and partners, and all before them, all the way back to the very beginning. And I know the same for each one of us. And so as we approach the time of the year when the veil between the worlds is the thinnest, we remember the truth of our current philosophy, that our beliefs are the authors of our experience. And we open to the philosophies that came before that agree it is done unto us as we believe. Harm no one. The thoughts we think are things. Opening now to the highest thoughts, the highest beliefs, the healing potential, the connection one unto another. I know it is all good. And as I release this prayer into the mind of the Maker, I know it is done as I have spoken. And so it is. Amen. Welcome, welcome. And now we have a wonderful, wonderful person to welcome. That is our guest artist today. Dinah Chapman is our guest artist. And are you ready to just knock our socks off, honey? Okay, please welcome with me Dinah Chapman.
Thank you. So good to be here. Thank you so much. Ooh, come on. All right. You can help me sing when you catch on, okay? You'll know it after today. The presence of love is flowing in me. I walk in it each day. Like the northern star in the midnight sky, it illuminates my way. Like the shade trees in summer to protect my weary soul. And in the midst of my journey, I know that it's all under control. There is only one love and one presence. Greater is that presence within me than anything in this world. This is the part. There is nothing but God in all the universe. Nothing but God. I'll say it again. There is nothing but God. In all the universe, nothing but God. Spirit watches over me, no matter where I go. On On a ship, a plane, an automobile, it's comforting to know. And if I get a little depressed watching the evening news, I remember and I whisper this simple prayer of truth. There is only one force and one presence. Greater is that presence within me than anything in this world, than anything in this world. Y'all can help me sing. There is nothing but God in all the universe, nothing but God. Can you say it again? There is nothing but God in all the universe, nothing but God. There is one power, there is one presence, there is one power, you know it, and that power is love. There is nothing but God in all the universe, nothing but God. One more time, there is nothing but God in all the universe, nothing but God. Thank
you. So blessed. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Janet Carol Ryan, and I am your practitioner of the morning. And it's my joy to express gratitude for all the people who keep Sundays going in this community and nurture our magnificent events. How many of you were present for Edwina Gaines last week on Monday? How fabulous was that? We thank you so much, those who serve our Sunday team and our events team. Let's offer a round of applause for gratitude. And we send love and blessings to our precious little ones. Thank you so much for being here today and for being on planet Earth to play and to shine your light. We love you. Off to your lesson. Blessings, blessings. So we've manifested a magnificent thing, and that is a loving home to offer the opportunity to be with your community at Thanksgiving. The Coopers, where are the Coopers? There they are. Galen and Mark will welcome you into their home, and it's a potluck, and it's really important that you sign up at the events table because there is room for 15 wonderful beings. And thank you so much for that warm opportunity. On the first Wednesday of every month, we offer something called Practicing the Presence. And this is a sweet time of sacred practice, meditation, prayer, different forms of connecting with the divine. So on the first Wednesday of November, week from this week, Michael Hart will be sharing spiritual practice, and that's from 7 to 8. It's in your bulletin if you'd like more information about it. And again, Edwina Gaines, many of us were there. She was brilliant. I've heard her through the years, and I do believe that she has grown in consciousness mightily and has so much to share, and her message was as powerful as ever. And we have an opportunity to embody that message with a special class, a special workshop that Francine Huss will be offering. Come on up, please. this afternoon. Yeah, thank you, Francine. A quick word about it.
Thank you. Well, if you were as inspired as I was and always am by Edwene, you just want to keep it all going. And so I offered to do a little discussion experiential workshop after church today at the Learning Center from 12 to 2. So if you want to kind of jumpstart what we learned on Monday, if you did not attend Monday, if you've read the book, or if you want to be prepared to catch up, because we'll be just jumping right in, please join us. We'll be talking about all those wonderful subjects of tithing, forgiveness, divine purpose, and setting goals. So join me. Thanks.
Thank you. And now I'd like to call up Barbara Cox to share a very special program, Creating Your Spiritual Legacy.
Thank you, Janet. Good morning. I'm in the second half of life. Does anyone join me there? Great. I'm in good company with all of you. We are very pleased to be starting this new series, Creating Your Conscious Legacy, and it's about all of those things that we look at this time in our lives, at this season. And part of that will be estate planning for anyone who might be interested in making a gift to Golden Gate in their estate plan. And I'm very happy at this time to announce that our beloved practitioner, B.G. Anelli, who made her life transition this year, left a legacy gift to Golden Gate. And so we give great gratitude for the consciousness to think ahead and plan for those things that are very important to us. The first of our series that we will be kicking off with is Conscious Aging. And it's an opportunity to look at all of the precious seasons of life that have already passed, to look at where we're going next, and to stand in this very powerful moment of now and make conscious choice. There'll be an ancestor process to commune with the ancestors. We're planning a very magical day. And I'm thrilled to announce that it will be Reverend Karyl, our own dear, beautiful Reverend Karyl, who will be facilitating this all-day workshop. And I will be assisting. Okay. And we're also thrilled to have a magical place to present it. It will be at Jane Jennings' very beautiful Stinson Beach home. There is no charge for this workshop. The way to sign up for it, and it's half filled already, is to go over and see me at the events over at the white tablecloth today and sign up. And the lunch fee is $18, and that will hold your place. So, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Someone said when? Saturday, November 17th.
Thank you, Barbara. So I believe that concludes my part of the announcements. And guess what? I'm bringing Reverend Karyl back. Yeah.
And so, firstly, I am starting a class, an original new class. It's called Your Life Only Better. And it's on Thursday nights, 5 Thursday nights, starting this coming Thursday. It will be at the Learning Center. The sign-up is right there on the education table. I would love to have you. There are no prerequisites. And it is basic beginning, but you know, we're always beginners. And let me just say, if you want your life better, then you can. It's kind of like guaranteed. In fact, right now, money back guaranteed. You know, if your life isn't better, I'll give you your money back. So I would like to introduce today for the first time, Mr. and Mrs. J. Gustafson. Congratulations. Also, I'd like to say for those of you who missed the pledge program, it was only 3 weeks long. If you haven't had a chance to pledge, and many of you haven't, because we're about $100,000 short. We're at about $145,000 pledged. We need about $100,000 more to give you what you like here. And we have about a half of the people that normally pledge that haven't pledged. And so if you're a member here, it would be really great if you would just tell us how much you think you're going to give in 2013. Just kind of, because people increase their pledge and decrease their pledge as we go through the years. But in order for planning, it would be really helpful. And so Gail Durkin will be right over there on the right there on the white tablecloth, and you can just fill out a pledge card. And we have pledges ranging from $180 for 2013 to over $7,000 for 2013. So somewhere in there, maybe you can find something that is comfortable for you with a little bit of a stretch. And so that's that. And then finally, I'd like to call up Reverend Barbara Leger. So, stand up here with me. Reverend Barbara and I were at our minister's convocation. And once a year, all of the ministers of Centers for Spiritual Living who choose to come together. And we were outside of Las Vegas for 5 days, communing with each other and supporting each other. And it was wonderful. And I'm so glad that Reverend Barbara came back here. For those of you that don't know, if you're new, I see many new faces here, actually.
Yeah, me too. That's a good
It's
thing.
fabulous.
Yes, it is.
Reverend Barbara is our minister in Cherkasy, Ukraine, but she has teaching centers in 5 cities. And so it's kind of like me being the minister of California. She is traveling all of the time, and we are sister communities. And so we would like to create some projects together that go around the world. It's 11 time zones, so almost halfway around the world. And so if you have any ideas or would like to participate with us, tell myself or Reverend Barbara if you would. And so now we are going to give you a gift here. The song, we're gonna be fabulous.
We are.
The song. This is the song that was the theme song for Convo, that was created for the theme of Convo, which is "Home is where the love is." So it's so yeah. Okay, here we go. I am home where the love is. I am one with Spirit, thankful for my blessings every moment, every day. I am home where the love is, surrounded with God's presence. to Bodie, who made his way through those chords
I've
one
never
time.
heard that song. Just
One
here's what we're
time.
saying. Well, what key is it in? What time signature?
Yeah.
You know, what tempo?
We all did great, right?
You were great.
Yeah! Okay. Well, I do want to welcome everyone who's here for the first time or back after a long time. Many people back after a long time. So, what a beautiful, beautiful day for you to be here, because we work on a word of transformation every single week this year. The words are on that tree there. And this is the Sunday that is closest to the ancient holiday that has come down to us as Halloween. I know all of you are aware of that because many of you are in orange, and I know that's for Halloween, not for the Giants. Maybe the Giants. Anyway, the ancient holiday called Samhain in our Celtic tendrils backwards was when the veil between the world was the thinnest. And it's when we were able to contact our ancestors. And of course, if that happened in our ancestors' time, it's possible for us as well. Because the idea is our ancestors are right here. We call them in. They are alive. They are here. They are present. They are thinking. They are guiding. They are on their own path. They just don't happen to have bodies. But we have representations of the bodies of our ancestors in photos on our altar today that was done by Janet Ryan. So, and we're going to have a ritual at the altar later. But when we talk about ancestors and their powerful presence in our life, we are opening to that wonderful and mysterious topic of immortality. The idea about immortality, of course, is that we are always alive. We are not just immortal after we die. We are immortal right now. We are beings that are eternal. And this earth experience is like a dip into the world of form and the world of time and the passage of time, the experience of duality, light and dark, night and day, and even right and wrong. I mean, we don't talk about right and wrong too much because in our philosophy at Centers for Spiritual Living, we like to rise to the level of oneness. That's what the songs are about. That's what the prayers are about. It's about our oneness. And actually, part of the skill of living on the earth is that we're kind of schizophrenic. We know that we are one with our good and one with our God and one with our ancestors, one with our manifested dreams, and yet we live in this world of form with a front and a back and light and dark and that experience of duality. So I believe that we really chose to come here because everything really is a choice. Our soul wanted this experience. In our textbook, although Ernest Holmes doesn't have a whole lot to say about Samhain, in fact, I don't think he has anything to say about Halloween, he does have a great deal to say about choice. And so on page 143 in the textbook, he says, we cannot live a choiceless life. Every day, every moment, every second, there is a choice. If it were not so, we would not be individuals. And so I believe that we chose to come to this earth plane, and the choice is part of our sacred path of being an immortal being. And so the word for today is sacred. Everything. Everything is sacred. Everything is sacred. The title of the talk is The Sacred Story of Our Awakening, because there's something about this realm that our soul wanted for its own awakening. Its growth, its evolution, its play, whatever. It's not by happenstance that we're here, folks. And so living life to the fullest, like when Barbara said, how many are in the second half of life? And a lot of us raised our hands, and I am certain that I am in the second half. When we come to the very last breath, if we're content with the level of living that we have experienced, the participation, the depth, the connection, the enjoying the forms, enjoying our bodies, enjoying the trees, enjoying the earth, enjoying every single stage along the way, then going home again, giving up our bodies will be like, fine, okay, what's next? I'm ready. So we look to the ancestors, and on this wonderful day here. And sometimes when we look at the ancestors and we think about times past, there are tribal peoples on this earth now that live quite a bit like our ancestors lived, and so there's kind of a commonality that we kind of look to how the ancestors live and how tribal people live now. And when you do that, of course, you're called an anthropologist. And the anthropologists have a way of assessing culture. They ask some questions, and they're really big questions. Like one of the questions that anthropologists ask to ascertain what a culture is like is, what is real? That's a very big question. What is real? So we think the stock market is real here. We think the World Wide Web is real, even though it's quite invisible. We think that the difference in political parties is really, really real, especially right now. Now, tribal people, if you ask them what is real, many tribal people would say communication with the ancestors is real. I mean, it is really as real as on your cell phone. Talking to the ancestors is as real to them as talking on the cell phone. And so what we're talking about when we answer the question, what is real, is a belief. And in this philosophy of Centers for Spiritual Living, our beliefs are really the most important things about our experience of life, because our beliefs literally dictate to us what feels real. And the deal is, you can change your beliefs. And so today, because it's almost Samhain, I would like you to try on the belief that we can communicate with our ancestors. There are people on this planet right now that think that is as real as, turning the key in your car. So we can ask, what wisdom is available to me from my ancestors? And so this talk today is really kind of combining the wisdom of the ancestors and the wisdom of Ernest Holmes as we look at our beliefs about something that's very, very important to us. So I'd like us to go back to an ancestor that we share. And actually there is a depiction of her on the altar. We know her as Eve. Now, in the Bible, in Genesis, in the Judeo-Christian Bible, there are actually 2 creation stories in Genesis. And they're distinct. They probably both couldn't have happened just the way it says in the Bible. But for those of you that haven't reread Genesis this week like I have, I'm going I'll sort of tell you what the 2 stories are. So the first one is God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let him have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. And God blessed them and said unto them, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it." Okay? So that's one creation story of how Adam and Eve came into being. In the next chapter, it's like they just took the writings that they liked and stuck them one after another. But this is the second story. "Then the Lord God formed man out of a dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. And the Lord God planted a garden in Eden in the east, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And then he made the animals and other stuff that went in the garden. And then he looked at Adam and said, he looks a little lonesome to me. And so this is the story where Eve came out of Adam's side, made out of a rib. And so the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall on the man, and while he slept, he took one of his ribs and closed up the place. And the rib which, I need those glasses too, which the Lord God had taken from the man, he made into a woman. So those are the two stories. And it's important, I think, that there are two stories because we can choose if we like one or if we don't like either one of them, or somehow in our wonderful mind of combining things we can say, oh yeah, it happened, something like that. Thank you, something like that. And we can incorporate both of them. But then what happens is that they both kind of come back together again with the snake. Okay, yeah, we got that. So there's actually, and you know what happened with the snake. I'm actually wearing the snake here because all of my thoughts about this cannot be contained in one talk. But so what happened, of course, is that God said, you can eat anything you like, except there is a tree in the center of the garden, and it is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and you can't eat from that or you'll die. So Eve is out there walking one day, and the snake comes up and says, it's a good fruit, and you won't die, and you will know the difference between good and evil. And so here. So Eve ate the fruit, and then she gave it to Adam. And I won't go into that too much because, Adam really blamed the whole thing on Eve. But, so, there's another talk there. But this story is so amazing because if you think about this, and if some of it is held in you, at the very best, Eve is naive, gullible, and disobedient. That's the very best. And in the worst, Eve is the gateway to sin, and she is the cause of all human distress. And all of her sisters share this quality. Okay, now I'm not going to stay here, but this is Adam, Eve, and the Serpent by Elaine Pagels, an amazing biblical scholar. And she says, we might well be astonished at attitudes that we take for granted about this story. That sexual desire is sinful, that infants are infected from the moment of conception with the disease of original sin, and that Adam's sin corrupted the whole of nature itself. Even those who think of Genesis only as literature and those who are not Christian live in a culture indelibly shaped by such interpretations as these. And so we have things like what happens in the news about the abuse of women and the inequality of women and the sinful nature of humankind, because it wasn't just Eve that ate, it was Adam too. And so this is a belief, people. If any of you are having this feeling that I'm having right now, we're not going to stay here, believe me, that, there's something going on here, and I have been affected by it, and my daughter has been affected by it, and everybody that I know has been affected by it. It's a belief that we can change. And just because this belief is presented in the Bible doesn't mean that we can't change it. Especially if we have another interpretation that uses, I'm there too, you know. I mean, I went to Sunday school and I read the Bible and I've heard it's the Word of God and all that, and that's in me. And yet, there is a whole other interpretation that I like a whole lot better, that some people that were very holy and very filled with belief also held. And those were the Gnostics. Okay, Elaine Pagels is a Gnostic scholar. It was a sect, or a number of sects at the beginning of Christianity that wrote a number of works that were hidden in big jars and put in caves, lots and lots of caves around, you know, that eastern end of the Mediterranean Sea. And in 1947, these big jars filled with manuscripts were unearthed, and they are called now the Nag Hammadi Library because they were discovered near a place that was called Nag Hammadi. So, in those interpretations, Eve is the gateway to the living, not to sin, that she is the gateway to all living. So there is a manuscript from the Nag Hammadis called The Reality of the Rulers. And this is about Adam relating to Eve. When he saw her, and that is like after the whole apple thing, when he saw her, he said, "It is you who have given me life. You shall be called Mother of the Living, for it is she who is my mother. It is she who is the physician and the woman, and she who has given birth." And what I read from this is that it is she who has given birth to a new consciousness, a new way of being, because Eve literally brought us to life on earth. It was after the whole fruit of the tree of good and evil thing that God said, you're going to work hard, you're going to die, and you're going to have pain in childbirth and all of that. But looking at it just a slightly different way, we have birth, death, work, growth. We have the experience of the dichotomy of good and evil, which leads us to moral questions and moral behavior and compassion one unto another. It gives us the stories of our lives that we wouldn't have if it had remained boring old Eden. One more thing, and then I'll just talk about it. The real theme of the story of Adam and Eve is moral freedom and moral responsibility. Its point is to show that we are responsible for the choices we freely make. Now, if there is anything that is absolutely true, is that we have choices every moment. You have a choice right now to stay here and listen to this, or sit there and think your own thoughts, or walk out. Don't walk out, because it's going to be really interesting. So what happened with this is that there were no pathways in life before Eve. There was no place to go. There was really nothing to do. There was paradise and nothing to do there. But look at the beautiful animals and the beautiful flowers and walk in the cool of the evening with God. Now, I have a beautiful garden. I have a beautiful garden, and I walk in the cool of the day with God there. And if I had to sit in my garden for a whole day, I would be bored. And that's just one day. If I had eternity in my garden, it wouldn't be fun at all. It would be awful. And so with this eating of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, we all of a sudden have choice. We have things in front of us, one that's harmful to life and one that supports life, and we have a choice. That's what Eve gave us, and Adam. Or this analogy of this wonderful one. Now, as I was driving in, I thought, I could have made I could have made a kinder story about the availability of choice. This is harsh. You read God's words as they are stricken from the garden, and it's harsh. But you know what? This is important stuff. Because we have been given freedom. We have been given choice. And from our choices, we have consequences. And from our consequences, we have learning. And from our learning, we have growth. And from our growth, we have awakening. And from our awakening, we have the pursuit of dreams. And from the pursuit of dreams, we have the hero's journey. And from the hero's journey, we have searching and connecting and finding and wisdom, so that we get to the end of this life, we can say, I had a great set of adventures, and I'm wise because of it. Because of Adam and Eve, we have all of the emotions. Not just boredom. We have all of the emotions. Full choice at every intersection of possibilities. We have complexity. We have subtlety. We have the mystery. We have unanswerable questions. We have stuff to think about forever. We have a lifetime with a beginning, a middle, and an end. So we get to contemplate how we fill it with wise choices. Now, going back to the fact that there are two creation stories, one where they were created together and one when they were created separately, the Adam and Eve folks. Right from the very beginning of the Bible, it gives us choice. What do you want to believe? How do you want to use this? What's also true about this story is that they don't call it an apple. They call it the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And there are lines of stories and reasonings, the Gnostics are one of them, that hearken back to another woman that ate fruit. And that's Persephone. Persephone ate 6 pomegranate seeds when she was in the underworld. And that is the Greek ancient story that gives us the seasons. So both of these stories really are about the end of innocence. For Eve, she was in a paradise with no consequences as long as she made no choices. And she made a choice, and the innocence of that paradise was lost. And for Persephone, she was a young teenager abducted by the god Hades, taken down into the underworld, and lost her innocence. Now, the results of these stories of losing innocence, the results are also a choice. We can look at the loss of innocence and see and think, well, isn't that too bad? And oh my gosh, it'll never be the same, and oh, how awful that is. Or we can look at it as a choice that leads us to complexity and an interesting life. And so we apply these two stories that are similar in many ways. The Persephone story, which is, interestingly enough, let me say that school children in Greece have the myths in their history books. Persephone is in the history books in 4th grade Greek history. Just as Adam and Eve are history as we think of it in the Bible. So whether we think of it as myth or allegory or history, it's our choice and how we apply it. Now, I'd like you to think of a time, because this is how we apply the importance of this. Think of a time when your innocence about something was lost. Betrayal is, I'll give you a hint, that's a real good way to lose innocence, is to experience some sort of betrayal. But after that betrayal, you have a choice point. You have a way to create your future. You can be fearful and withdraw, or you can grow your soul into its magnificence, not in spite of, but because of the betrayal. And therefore, the betrayer becomes one of your greatest allies, because the betrayer helped you to grow. So as I was thinking of my own life, one thing that came to me was my first short career. I was a high school teacher, and after 3 years, you're offered tenure. Well, after 3 years, in the last semester of my third year teaching, my principal came in to observe me for the first time ever, and he gave me a negative review. And so my ability to accept tenure was in question. Now, that seemed to me at the time as a betrayal and a loss of innocence. It's like my life had been going, and all of a sudden, bang, I might not get tenure. And so I went into being my own best advocate. I enrolled the help of the head of the English department in my high school. I did an exhaustive response to every single thing that he said on this little form and showed how I had met every single expectation. I had another meeting with him where the department head was with me. And he sort of said, "Thank you, I'll put these in your file." I was offered tenure, and I chose not to accept it. I went on to my next career, which was an expansion, a step forward, a whole new world for me. And so I used the betrayal as a stepping stone to my greater life. So every disappointment and betrayal, every bad surprise is a choice point to deepen our faith, to grow in wisdom and skill, to rise above whatever we think has been placed in front of us, and to really see that every single thing is sacred. That's the basic lesson. It's all sacred. It's all here for us. And if all we do is experience our time on earth as one sacred thing after another, one sacred thing that we like, and then one sacred thing that we have to really work at to fit in, and one sacred thing that we like, and then another one that we really have to work to fit in, we will have lived well, and we will have a habit of empowering choices. And if there is something that I have brought up, because this is when we talk about loss of innocence and betrayal, and when we talk about Adam and Eve, things come up. And if something is coming up for you that you can't say, "Yeah, that was really great that happened," we have practitioners at the table and they're nodding, they're ready for you. Look at that. They're going, "Yep, bring them on." So they're ready to pray with you. Thank you. And we also have a ritual here at the altar for you. We have 3 other practitioners that will be at the altar with the pomegranate seeds. So we have 3 dishes of pomegranate seeds, and the ritual is that you come up and you line up in front of Janet or Lori or M. Louise, and they are going to have a bowl of pomegranate seeds, and you are going to say to them, "I have something distressing in my life," or "I have something that I don't feel I have guidance for," or "I have something that I don't know what to do about." And they're going to offer you some pomegranate seeds and tell you that you have all that you need within you and around you. You have the guidance of the ancestors. You have the wisdom within you. You have the one mind of God, and in the mind of God are all answers. You have the strength of an Adam or an Eve that were sent from boring paradise into a complex and lovely life where they learned and grew just like you can. So let's do the inner work and pray this in and see what else comes up for you. And the inner work is really about casting a vision of a world that has incorporated the lesson that we've talked about this morning. And so with me, as I cast this vision, let us see a world in which all personal distress of any kind is seen as an invitation to growth. See with me a world where the freedom that we have as a divine human being is matched by enjoying our responsibility. Freedom and responsibility. See a world with me in which our ancestors are available to us for love and wisdom. See with me a world where all of the paths are sacred. We recognize our own as sacred. We recognize our brothers and sisters' paths as sacred. We see our brothers and sisters as those who have unspeakable joys and unspeakable sorrows because they are children of the earth. And they have the capacity to rise above any distress because they are children of the infinite. I see a world where everything leads us to deepening and awakening, and we are closer with every breath to eternal truth. And so it is.
There's a time in this world for you and me to erase all the pain, all the sadness, set our minds free. We can know who we are, we can know the truth. We can breathe, we can feel, we can see our destiny when we're touching the stillness, touching the stillness. Touching the stillness. When I pray, close my eyes, turn within, then I let go. No more stress, I feel peace, I feel quiet. I now release. I believe in my heart that I've done my best. Now I know it's Spirit does the rest. When I'm touching the stillness, touching the stillness, I can reach down inside to my innermost guide, be still in the presence, touching the stillness. Whoa, I'm taking some time to relax my mind, close the door to the world and come inside. I've gone long enough. I need to feel the touch. I need to feel the thunder of silence. Touching the stillness. Touching the stillness. I can reach down inside to my innermost guide. Be still in the presence. Touching the stillness. Touching the stillness. Touching the stillness.
So Dinah has CDs right around behind the altar, and thank you.
I wrote that one too.
What?
I wrote that one.
Oh, wow, she wrote this song. How beautiful. Wonderful. So now is the time for us to share our tithes and offerings. So I'd like to ask the ushers to get ready to accept these blessings. And I want to thank you in advance for just who you are and all you give. And when you give your money today, if you would really know that you're giving for everybody else in the room and the people that have stayed at home today, and you're giving for the people who are watching us on the internet, because it's your gift that sustains this community. So if you would just put your gift in your hand, hang on just a sec, put your gift in your hand and on your heart. Oh, and just infuse it with your energy, because you are the one that makes this community whole, complete, and perfect. Now would the ushers accept the gifts, please?
Worshiper
so with that message of absolute welcome. We feel how precious we are to life itself, how precious we are to this realm and to all realms, how deeply we are loved by the ancestors and by the Maker. What deep roots we have into all of the history of the paths that have brought each one to this place where we can give all that we are and some of what we have so that this precious community may thrive. And so it is. Okay. Well, have a lovely Samhain. You know, my mom, Doris, who is the teacher of many of us here, her birthday was Halloween. So it's a special, special time for me for that reason as well. Remember, get a prayer, do the ritual. Sign up if you want to go to Thanksgiving, if you want to attend the Legacy event, if you have not pledged, if you would like to come to my class and buy the CDs and have a cup of coffee, get many, many hugs, and come again next week, and go to the workshop, the Francine and Edwine workshop on the 4 laws of prosperity, and talk to Reverend Barbara and I about the Ukraine and pointing, and get a CD if you would like, and wave to the camera, and that's all of our tasks right now.
And come talk to me if you want to learn how to clone yourself so you can do it all.
And Janet's going to pray us out now.
Oh, and just enfolded in this loving heart of the divine, I speak this word in affirmative prayer, knowing that in truth there is only one. And that one is the all-sufficiency, the divine light, the infinite presence of all good. One power, one source, interwoven, interconnected in all experience, that is embodied as the living presence that I am, individualized, uniquely to express, to share, and to be all that I am and all that I am becoming, and what is true for me is true for each and every beloved, precious being. This life of choice, growing more fully into our God selves on planet Earth. And I know the power, the presence, the wholeness, the love is vitally alive within all that we are and all that we can be. And so I speak this word for that shift that takes place on the inside, transmuting and transforming any thought or belief in separation or so-called evil. As it is lifted up into the light of truth, we see life as it truly is, a sacred and holy gift to experience and to share, to be fully who we are. And so I accept this transformation taking place even now for the good of all, knowing that it is done with effortless ease as we simply flow into that higher alignment that is available to us from the presence within. I give thanks for this. I give thanks for the healing that takes place as a result of this shift in consciousness. And I give thanks in advance for the flowing forth of blessings and bounty for the good of all. And in love and gratitude, I surrender this prayer into the law of mind, knowing it is established, it is accomplished for us. And so I let it be, and so it is. Amen.
So I invite you now to stand for the affirmation and closing song. And please repeat after me. And here are the practitioners that are right. These are the ones that you can pray with today, or they're ready for you too. So repeat after me now. All of my choices about what I know to be real, empowering, and life enhancing, contribute to my growth and joy. I know that guidance and support are always available to me. I see every detail of my life as sacred on my great journey of awakening. I am immortal now and always. I love and bless my ancestors. Blessed be.